Hello everyone, this is a video on how to clean the Weber carburetor, specifically on the X19. There's stacks of stuff on the internet, and there's a lovely little website by a New Zealander called Ted Perkins, but it doesn't look as if it's finished. So when you're wanting to see any of the detail of what I'm talking about, just go on Ted Perkins' site. Like I say, it doesn't look finished, but nevertheless, it'll. Now, first thing, if you got problems with the X19 carburetor, the datr, is to make sure that it's bolted down tightly. So I've got a little crescent spanner that fits on them, because if there's a leak where it bolts on, it's not going to work properly. So that's the very first thing you do. Make sure that it's tight there. Then you take the top of the, you take the air filter off. I'd throw it away and put a K&N on. That's what you're going to have to do anyway if you want it to run properly. But take the air filter off the top of it and any pipes and things like that. And then what you do is you need to take the top of the carburetor itself off. There's a gasket underneath it. But if you're careful, you can probably reuse that. And there's 4 or so screws. Use the right size screwdriver. Don't knurl them up. So take it off and the gasket, and then you'll be able to see the 4 jets. The 2 ones in the middle are the main jets with the emulsifier tubes. I'll tell you about those in a minute. And then the ones either side of them are the idle jets. And for the moment, I'm not going to tell you which way around they are. You can see on my videos and that. But take them out. Take a photo of the position that they're in, or label them, because they have to be the right way round, and then take them out. It's much easier to do it with the top of the carburetor off, and you'll need a couple of tins of carburetor cleaner, and you'll see the holes, obviously, that you've taken the jets out of, but also next to them are some tiny little holes. They don't appear important. There are 2 of them, and they're next to the outer jets, the idle jets. And they are a lot of the part of the problem. They're part of the sort of the intermediate circuit. And you need to squirt carburetor fluid down the 2 main ones and then the 2 outer ones. But those 2 other holes are important to squirt down. And you were looking down the throats of the 2 chokes, the holes. They're called chokes because they get narrower for the Venturi effect. And you're looking for liquid, for carburetor cleaner, coming out of the side towards the bottom of the chokes. And until you see carburetor cleaner coming out of those, they're progression holes. And what they do, they're down there, tiny little holes. There's 2 on the secondary choke and 3 altogether on the primary. And those holes have to be absolutely scrupulously clean, and you can't hardly see them from looking down. So squirt down those 2 little holes next to the 2 primary jets and the idle jets until fluid's coming out of those, and then you can put the jets back in. And then on the side of the carburetor, you'll see the idle adjustment screw, and that has to be clean. So what you do is you turn that in you turn it in, but you count how many turns, and it'll be about 1 1/4 to 1 1/2. But count how many turns, then you take that out, and then you squirt fluid through there, and make sure that that's coming out into the choke, into the primary choke, because that's the idle circuit that gets your car just idling. Then you put that back and open it up. It starts at about 1 1/4, but you'll have found out how many turns it was. So you do that. Then the next thing you can do is to press the accelerator pump, or get somebody to do the accelerator pedal, and make sure that fuel's coming out of the little pipe that comes across the top. That's the accelerator pump. And what that does is, when you're pressing your foot down to go up hills, that's what gives Weber's the instantaneous acceleration, because it squirts some extra fuel down, and you can't beat a Weber really for a sports car. I had them on my Citroën CXs as well, but I didn't understand anything about them then. Now, that's it really. Make sure those progression holes on the side are clean, and you get those by cleaning down, squirting down those two little holes that don't have any jets in them. They're just two little holes. I think they've got a little bit of brass tube in them or something. They look different to other ones that go nowhere. And then have a look at Ted Perkins' site, and he explains how the emulsifier tubes, how they mix air and fuel together to make it a bit thicker so that it doesn't go around the system so quickly. And then he also, on the XWeb forum, they show you how to set up the float properly. But all that stuff's there, but people can't be bothered, I couldn't be bothered to begin with, to read right through it. And I have read right through it. Ted Perkins' site's good, then the XWeb forum for the rest, and a couple of cans of spray cleaner. But then, and this is so important, have a real think when you put it back together about the crankcase breather going into the air filter. Just don't do it, because those little progression holes are going to block up, and before you know it, you'll be back to where you were with it not idling properly or not picking up properly. So do what I've done. I've been a naughty boy and have the crankcase breather going down with some hose, whatever sort of non-kink hose you can, down to the... You can put it into a catch can if you're that environment, but you're not on a racing circuit, just down underneath the road. And it will make your engine more efficient, and it will do less emissions if you really are that bothered about it, but it will do less emissions because the carburetor will be running better. So it's coming up to 7 minutes now. But any comments, I'd be pleased. But don't forget, Ted Perkins, a couple of cans of the spray stuff, and crankcase breather, don't put it into the air filter. And then get rid of that air filter and get a decent K&N one, put it on it, and if you can open up the top of the engine bay like I did with an angle grinder, I drive it in the rain all the time. It's no problem, unless you're parking it out in the rain, and even then you could use a finer mesh and it would be okay. Ferraris did that, and the Lancia Monte Carlo did that. You need some more air getting in through there. Not getting in, but coming out of there. Anyway, all the best from David. I've got a new exhaust system for the Rover, and that doesn't sound like a growling animal anymore. That sounds like a posh car. Anyway, all the best to you, and any comments, just send them to me. Bye-bye.